Oh, now we are.
Even worse. This week, a new virus encrypts your files and takes them hostage until you pay. I'll ask James, who definitely didn't make this. Why are you even asking? What could possibly be worse? BlackBerry's BBM service is out now for Android and iOS users, and we couldn't possibly be less excited. Rating bots disagree. Find out why. Here's a hint. It's because they're rating bots. And we tell you about the greatest anti-piracy tactic of all time. All this, plus how to get a free copy of Apple's iWorks software in this week's show. Because my name's Justin Pott, I'm in Boulder, Colorado, and you're listening to Technophilia. Keep doing that. With me today from the UK is Mr. James Bruce. How you doing, James?
I'm great, but if I seem unprepared, it's because I'm doing this Hangout from the Chromebook, and it's just crashed on one of the pages, so I can't read the show notes. Oh well.
Yeah, no, so those of you who are listening, his face is framed almost completely out. What kind of a Chromebook? You just on one of them little tiny ones from Samsung, or what?
It's a HP Chromebook 11. It's one of the latest ones, although it's not super powered or anything. It's
I am guessing its camera is kind of crap based on how you look right now.
It does look kind of crap, doesn't it?
Yeah, it kind of does. Kind of does, yeah.
And now I can't read the show notes. Well done, Chromebook.
No,
it's not the worst camera I've ever seen, but
no,
it's
not the terriblest.
Certainly not the best.
Yeah. Also with me today, whose voice you just heard from Connecticut, it's Dave LeClaire. How you doing, Dave?
I'm from Connecticut?
You're in Connecticut, aren't you? Connecticut? Did I say that right?
I don't know.
You don't know. Well, then, it seems you don't have anything useful to say, so let's move right along to the cleverest piece of malware in history. James, can you tell us about this one?
Okay, it's called CryptoLocker.
CryptoLocker, okay.
It's a form of ransomware, which is the kind of malware which gets you to pay something before, it threatens to pay you. It's like, oh, the FBI have found your dirty files and pay us to do a little fine and get rid of that. But what this one actually does is it will encrypt any files it finds on your hard drive, documents, pictures, whatever it finds, it'll encrypt them and delete the original files, and then it'll give you 1 hour to pay the fine.
So what if you're not at your computer?
I guess I hadn't thought of that.
Okay.
But really, this is I hesitate to say it's.
Yeah.
I don't want to praise this too much, but it's really interesting, isn't it? It's really clever.
Yeah, because they don't need to go to this length, to be fair. There's lots of people who will pay if something on a computer screen tells them to, right? That's why all these ones that are like, your antivirus software is out of date. Click here to renew it. Like, it's a virus saying. Like, people do that all the time.
Yeah.
So it doesn't need to be this extreme, but they're doing it.
And the only way to get around it really is to make sure you have like daily backups or something that you can.
Yeah,
just,
but
can fall
even
back to
then,
without paying this.
even then, I saw in the comments of this article that, or it might have been the article itself. I might be a little tripped up, but what is it? Carbonite is warning people that if you have this virus, you should tell customer service that you have it immediately so that they can like go through because the backup's overwrite, right?
Yeah.
It's not day by day. If you had something like Time Machine that gives different versions based on when it was backed up, right? You could go back, but Carbonite doesn't work that way. It's just what's on your hard drive right now. So if
the problem with this is that a lot of people might think, I know, I'll just shut down my computer and then I'll call over my techie friend who can sort it out.
Yeah.
No, you can't. It saves the key file to a remote server. If you don't pay, the key gets lost. You cannot open it. The creators can't open it of the virus. You've lost it forever.
So unless you can crack it somehow, but
no, you can't crack it. There's no cracking to be done.
But you could just restore you just restore your computer if you don't actually care about the files that you're losing, right? Just give the old wife job and move on with your day.
If you don't care about your life's history and photographs or anything, then go ahead.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, who doesn't put all their photographs on the internet somewhere? You can just go re-get them.
I don't.
Yeah,
though I do have it syncing between 3 computers, so I guess I'd be somewhat covered.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah.
I just format my computer every few months anyway and just wipe everything off of it.
Really?
Yeah, fuck all that stuff.
Your Windows one or your Mac as well?
The Windows one, just wipe it clean.
I used to do that. It doesn't seem as necessary now.
It's always necessary, Justin Pott.
Okay.
Always.
Fine. Whatever. Let's move on. I mean, this is just disturbing me so much. Let's move on to something happier.
Justin's not gonna be able to sleep tonight.
No. Oh man, I'm so glad I don't work in IT anymore because I know that there's an IT guy who's getting blamed because this happened to their files somewhere right now. And I guess you can snap your fingers every 10 seconds and there's an IT guy being blamed for this somewhere. And it's because his boss downloaded some pretty kinky looking porn, and now they've got like it's all his boss's fault, but bosses as a rule don't accept the blame for stuff like that. So if you're out there, if you're listening, I feel your pain. I understand what you're going for. Happier.
Buy a Mac.
That's
that's the best answer to all of this. Buy a Mac.
You have never worked in customer service, have you? I mean,
I have for not a very long time.
These people aren't going to buy
in
Macs.
a couple of weeks, but you know.
Yeah. Hey, James, my computer's broken again. Can you come here and fix it like I'm paying you to do? No!
Buy a Mac.
Buy a Mac. Then you don't have a job anymore.
Or actually, even just buy a Chromebook. Is there a virus for Chrome yet, for Chromebook?
What would it do? Cause the files that aren't on your drive to not be open?
No, you do get files. I was surprised.
Oh, you get files on it. Okay, let's talk about your Chromebook. So this is from HP. Someone in the chat, I'm trying to... Dwayne? I gotta get the full name here. The chat room's being kind of dumb. Dwayne Dibley says he uses a Chromebook for 95% of his writing, and it's the MacBook Air-like Samsung one. What's this one look like?
That's the one that everybody made a real big deal about like 2-3 months ago.
Yeah.
This one
it's the biggest thing ever.
It looks like an old MacBook. You know, the white cheap MacBooks.
The white cheap
quite
MacBooks.
Tacky looking. The screen's a bit flimsy.
Just 3 years ago, Apple was telling us that those white MacBooks were cool looking, and now they're telling me that looks flimsy.
I didn't buy into that back then either.
Okay.
I bought the metal ones, but
okay.
I mean, it looks alright. It's a bit tacky looking, like an old MacBook. It's just the screen is a bit flimsy. Like if I type on my lap, the screen will shake. Maybe I'm just a heavy typer. I don't know. And it's not got great performance. It's a bit laggy, but. You know what? For doing a bit of writing, I wrote the review on it. That worked fine.
How much is this thing?
Stick.
How much is this? Ooh, USB stick. How much is this thing retailing for?
And it brings up a kind of pseudo file management thing where you can drag and drop between your Google Drive.
And primarily for the purposes of uploading it to cloud services.
Yeah, and that's cool. And you can work offline with it as well, so it's not completely crippled.
Do you ever buy this thing for yourself?
$280. I wouldn't buy it. I would, you know, if someone really only lived on Facebook and writing documents and that kind of thing, they would get by on this fine. It runs you know, HD movies from Netflix and from YouTube just fine. And as far as I know, there's no viruses for it, which is great, obviously.
So have you tried putting a different operating system on it yet? It's like the first thing people do, isn't it? You buy the Chromebook and you throw Ubuntu on there, isn't that? Would you do these things? Yeah.
Does it boot up extremely fast?
What? Sorry.
Does it boot up like instantly? Does it turn on in like 2 seconds?
I haven't tried turning it off yet.
Well, how about when you first turn? Well, I guess when you first turned it on, you probably had initial setup and stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If it's anything like a MacBook Air, it'll be pretty instant.
I'm assuming you didn't just buy this for yourself. This is for make use of purposes, right?
Yeah, we'll be giving this away. I'm not sure about the schedule exactly.
Okay,
it's in a week or two.
Stay tuned on makeuseof.com, and we'll be giving James's Chromebook away, so you can get a sample of his DNA from it and clone yourself an army of angry British IT support people who just tell you to buy Macs. Moving right along then, WordPress 3.7 is out with automatic updates, improved search, and a strong password meter. James, you are a resident WordPress expert. Have you tried this out yet?
I haven't upgraded. I wouldn't touch it, no.
You wouldn't touch it? What, do you just wait a couple of weeks generally to see if this happens?
The problem for me is the automatic updates.
I'm terrified of the automatic updates. Terrified.
Yeah, I have to, like, if you have plugins that rely on old versions of WordPress, for instance, then automatic updates is dumb.
Or themes.
Yeah, or even, like, I like to kind of hack the core files a bit. If I can't find a plugin that'll do it, I'll just go straight into WordPress and start editing the code there.
Yeah, so is this automatic updates? This is the default? because this is gonna.
Yes.
I'm really glad I have some clients who are probably going to be calling me because shit's going to break. I mean, they pay.
Yeah.
Part of what I get paid for sometimes is to go in and do the updates in such a way so it's reversible. And so if something breaks, I know which update caused it, right? And if they're just all going to update automatically, shit's just going to break, and they're not going to have any kinds of records. So I'm a little freaked out about this.
You can disable it with a couple of options somewhere, but
Okay,
then I just
okay.
don't see the point. And it's only going to work for, I think it's minor updates, so it'll be 7.1 that you get rather than WordPress.
Well, as long as it doesn't
1.
break any of the sites I work on, but I'd hate. I mean, you know, I'm always a little cautious about WordPress updates, and if you run a site and you don't understand everything, it's best to wait till your tech guy can do it for you. So
Yeah.
I'm a little afraid about that. The improved search. Does anyone still use the built-in search on WordPress? Is that still a thing?
I thought everyone just used Google.
Yeah,
I
seriously.
do. Well,
I'm sure there's someone out there just
I wouldn't
like.
talk about that.
I'm sure
What's
there's
up?
dudes out there just deploy their WordPress blog and don't put anything on top of it, and therefore have custom search on their or WordPress search on their site.
Because they haven't changed anything.
Yeah,
they haven't removed it yet.
They just left it exactly how it is when you deploy it. It still says, "Hello, this is my first post" or whatever. Hello
I don't
world.
know.
Just another WordPress blog.
Yeah.
Many people don't even need search. I mean, it's not like
Yeah.
you've got a site like Make Use Of filled with 40,000 posts or whatever.
Well, exactly.
30,000.
We got to 30,000, yeah.
30,000. Oh, we crossed the 30,000 threshold this week.
Honestly, if
We're
people
all so
need to
proud.
use your search, you either have too much content or you're not organizing it right.
Wait, so you're saying that we have too much content?
No comment.
No.
I'm not saying, we could delete a lot of stuff or anything.
No, yeah.
Yeah, but if we deleted all that stuff, then we would die.
No, we
What?
wouldn't.
I'm
What?
confused.
All right, I feel like I may have exaggerated.
You know what could kill you is a 3D printed gun. And in the UK, it seems like the cops are going a little crazy and thinking everything made from a 3D printer is part of a gun. James, what the heck is going on?
So, as part of another raid, I believe it was, where they were following up on leads from some gang violence or whatever, they raided some member's house and they found he had a 3D printer, and they found these little pieces alongside the 3D printer. And of course, their first thought was,
And because they
he
get
could
all
be
their
printing a
news
gun.
from the Daily Mail. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah. Because that's
It
what
turns
3D
out-
printers are for, right? Making guns.
From what I can tell, it turns out it was actually not a trigger for a gun. It was like part of a print head for a new 3D printer. The 3D printer was printing other 3D printers. It wasn't a gun, and
What?
of course there were actually calls to start banning 3D printers because that's what we do here in the UK. We overreact.
To be fair, though, why was he printing another 3D printer? I bet you it was because he wanted to print a gun.
He wanted to make a gun
let's
factory.
be honest.
Let's face it.
He wanted to print off 30 3D printers that could then print off 30 more 3D printers each, right? And then he'd have his own, he'd be able to arm a minor militia to finally liberate Scotland from the English. That was the long-term goal. There, I think.
Are we supposed to be giving away T-shirts today?
We're supposed to be giving away T-shirts today?
requested.
Well, you know what? We didn't advertise it, so there's no point.
Yeah.
Oh.
You should have. I forgot
Good
about that,
question.
guys. We'll do it. Yeah.
I was
And
looking
then
at
else-
the
This
chat
about
room, and then I'm
3D
like,
printed.
but there's not a lot of people there anyway, so screw them.
I don't understand the controversy over 3D printed guns, because right now you can't 3D print a bullet. You still need to buy bullets, right? Which you can't buy here anyway, so I don't really see what the trouble is. And secondly, once you've fired them, they explode. The guns explode. They won't hold the force.
It's not really that worthwhile a thing. Until you can 3D print stuff in metal, it's not much of a concern. You can't do that much damage with plastic.
And
But
stuff
there's
your
just
own
this
bullets.
concern about using these improvised parts as weapons. I mean, you can make a knife out of almost any piece of. I just.
Yeah.
It's tricky, right? But I mean, current 3D printers aren't much of a problem. But if we have Star Trek style replicators at some point, then yeah, anyone can make any weapon they want to, unless there's some pretty hardcore controls on them. But as we see with everything, controls can be overridden.
Since we're talking about 3D printers,
Yeah.
do you want to go ahead and talk about that modular phone thing called Ara, was it?
Oh, we talked about one a couple months ago, I think.
That was phone blocks.
Phone blocks.
That was
now there's a
vaporware
real one-ish that's going to happen. Do you remember? I don't know its name. I'm not going to speak to it, but you brought it up. What do you know?
Ara,
okay.
By,
and was it Nokia?
No, Motorola.
Motorola, which is Google.
The bit of Google, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Could be. I mean, part of the reasons I like PCs is how modular they are. You can pull out the video card, stick in another one, you can add more RAM, you can replace the hard drive. Like, it's really easy to fix because all the parts are removable to a certain extent. Now, most people don't know how to do this, but if you know what you're doing, you can. With phones, there's nothing like that. I would like to see something like that because it's a shame how many people throw out their iPhone because something silly like the battery has gone bad. You know, and to Apple, that is the best revenue model possible because people buy new phones every 3 years, and this is accelerated by the fact that the carriers subsidize it, so it's like $20 for a new iPhone. So whatever, why wouldn't you, right? But for the planet, we've got limited resources. You know, as much as we try to pretend otherwise, Earth will run out of stuff at some point, and if we don't recycle all these parts, we're going to run out of the metals you need to make the phones. So I like the idea of replacing one module at a time, upgrading one module at a time. I don't know how you make it efficient at that scale. Sorry, whoever I cut off.
No, I think the idea behind it is really great. But the practical realities of, say, okay, you want to upgrade the camera module.
Yeah.
So you take it out, you put a new one in, it's got a bigger lens.
Yeah.
And then your phone can't handle it because you need new drivers. And you need to go onto the manufacturer's website, download drivers for your bloody phone. Do you know how fun that is on PCs? No, that's why I switched to a Mac. I don't want to piss around with drivers on my mobile phone, right? And while the idea of being more socially responsible like this is great, I think there would be much better ways to do it.
But I think if you've got an OS coming from Motorola, presumably Android, and hardware coming from Motorola, it would probably be supported, right? Or is it going to be third-party stuff?
Hardware. Yeah. So it's going to be anyone making hardware for this thing. So
okay.
It's just going to be incompatibilities out of your ass.
Yeah, but if they make it as easy as downloading an app, it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Sure. Or tell that to Windows 20 years ago. You know, that's not how things turn out.
How much of a crap show it was on Windows, and we can fix it. So I think the bigger problem is with the economics of it. The problem is that the current model of phone distribution is insanely profitable, which is why Apple currently has more money than like Zeus ever had. I don't know how much money Zeus had, but
Zeus not much.
They've got a crap ton of money because people buy these phones every 2 years like clockwork. Or if not every year, you know. So, I mean, there's so much money to be made with the current model, and the new model looks, if anything, less profitable. So I just don't see a lot of incentive to get there unless users really, really want it.
Well, what about if we just said use the current model and make phones more recyclable? Would that not be infinitely better than trying to...
It would be better. It would be better, but people are going the other way. They want their phones to be lighter and thinner, and that is incompatible with less recyclable. I mean, it's the economics of it.
That's not necessarily true. Come on, you just have to shift with these companies away from only having a responsibility to their shareholders, which they do legally.
Oh, that's not okay. I see what you're saying. We just need to fundamentally change the structure in which our society is built.
Of capitalism, yes. You need to say that all companies should have a social responsibility as well, and not just to shareholders. An equal social responsibility.
Our buddy Alex Mayer is suggesting that Linux could solve this problem, and there was the earlier all the problems can be solved by Linux. Basically, is what I'm getting.
How can that fix? Have you ever tried installing drivers on Linux? What's wrong with you?
It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, isn't that worse than PC?
That's even worse.
You know what? If you install Ubuntu, odds are the drivers are included for anything resembling modern hardware, unless it came out next month.
Oh, until you want a Wi-Fi card, don't you?
Well, I've never had problems with Wi-Fi cards. And when I have, I just open up the Ubuntu the driver. I mean, drivers were a huge pain in the... Don't get me wrong, but it's pretty easy now. That's not the main problem you'd have. But Alex's point is to run it on the Linux kernel and launch the drivers before the hardware. I don't know how that solves anything, because you still need the drivers to be there, but whatever. Thanks, Alex. We love you, buddy. Speaking of phones no one wants, BlackBerry. BlackBerry's BBM service is now on iPhone and Android. So you can check that out if you want. On Android, it's got many suspicious 5-star ratings. Now, no, this hasn't been proven, but there's lots of people saying very generic things like good, period, and then giving it 5 stars. Bots? Don't know. Not for sure. I think if they did pay for that, that's stupid. It's going to hurt them more in the long run than anything. But yeah, BBM now on iPhone and Android. You don't need a BlackBerry device to use it. A lot of people liked this chat back in the day. Jim Basile, who was one of the higher-ups in BlackBerry until recently, he really wanted the future of the company to be BBM as the replacement for MMS. And he didn't win that fight. He lost and was ultimately kicked out of the company for it. They thought that launching BBM on other phones would take away from BlackBerry phone sales. But it turns out that even without doing that, BlackBerry phone sales tanked. So we are where we are now. I think it's too little too late. Have you ever used this, Dave?
I used to love BBM. I never used it on my iPhone, but when I had BlackBerry, I used to like BBM. But at this point, I don't. Everyone I know has an iPhone, and they all have iMessage, which does like the main things that BBM did, which was like the read alerts and you can see when they're typing. So I don't see the point of installing an app when
they're really too late to the game.
Yeah.
If they had done this 3 years ago,
before there was an iMessage and it was
before there was an iMessage
texting,
and they had partnerships with all the carriers. They really could have made this the universal replacement for texting, and the company would be in much better shape now. But they were convinced that all they needed to do was put out a better phone, and they would win the smartphone war again. They lost, and now they're putting this out too quickly. Yeah.
I mean, the other thing is like your non-tech savvy user is not even going to know to go and they're just going to text from the texting app that's built into their iPhone. They're not going to go download an app. So if you want to get like your friend who has an iPhone but doesn't pay attention to what's going on, you can tell them to download BBM and you're going to be like, download who?
Yeah, they're not going to do that just to talk to you. They're not going to.
They're gonna be like, we already
the other thing with
regular text. Why do
the other thing with 3 years ago, and again, this is in retrospect, it's really easy for me to say this, but they had a pretty big user base still 3 years ago that would have made it more likely for iPhone and Android users to want to use BBM. And the other thing is a lot of people have unlimited texting on their phone plans worldwide. Fewer have unlimited data. So it just seems like, why would you use this instead of texting? It's just kind of a weird idea to even think that. So BlackBerry, I love that you're trying, but you really should have did this
out there
when Jim Basile said to. Also, the NHL, you also should have listened to Jim Basile and moved the Phoenix Coyotes to Hamilton, but that is not our core point today. Jim Basile was right. That's the main point. Moving right along then, Dave.
Yo.
Would you like to ride a balloon to space?
No.
Why not? That's awesome. Well, if you...
Just the mere thought of riding around in a hot air balloon, like a regular hot air balloon, not to space, it scares me.
Well, for $75,000, you can ride a luxury balloon to space and stare out into the cosmos above the atmosphere while drinking from a complete bar. I guess it's 2 years' work for the average person, but it's pretty cool for the super rich.
Will they look forward to that. Me $75,000 to do it instead?
No, they won't. You won't actually be in space proper. You'll be about as high as that dude Felix was before he jumped off, and you won't be required to jump down. You can just kind of gently coast down. Oh, and the $75,000 does include drinks. You won't have to pay for that on top of it. So it's a pretty good deal when you think about that, at least with how much I would drink. Maybe not you, Dave.
It'd be $0 worth of drinks for me, so... Yeah. Can I get a discount? Like, can I go for like
30,000? Maybe. I don't know.
I gotta go. I'm gonna have to go haggle with these guys.
The company is called Worldview. If you've got $75,000 to blow, I'd recommend a podcast that you could buy. But if you'd rather go to space, you can do that too.
That sounds dumb. If you're gonna go to space, just man up and get on a spaceship.
Hey, do we have a sponsor this week, Dave?
Yeah, it's in the show notes.
Okay, got it. We'll get to that later. Guess who it is in the comments, guys. It's going to be exciting. More and more.
Where did it go? It's gone.
Well, you should probably get on that then. That's why I'm mentioning it.
It's in the post on Make Use Of though. It is there.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thanks, dude.
Sorry, sponsors.
I just thought I'd subtly mention this so you would insert the sponsor into the show notes, but cool, let's talk about it extensively. I love you guys. This week's episode is brought to you by Bitdefender Quick Scan. Whenever you need a quick check or a second opinion, such as before logging into your favorite game, when using your bank account or buying something online, use Quick Scan directly from your browser. That is, again, Bitdefender Quick Scan. Check it out. More and more people are giving their phones to their infants to keep them amused. Now, pediatricians generally recommend that you don't let your kids have any screen time until they're older than 2 years old. But if a kid is crying and wants your attention, it's pretty easy to give them the digital pacifier and see what happens. James, my question for you, is this just natural extension of people's lives that are becoming dominated by phones, or is it a disturbing lack of parenting?
I would say it's the latter. People are bloody lazy. It's not the TV, it's the phone, you know?
I mean, you've got 5 chickens and you amuse them without ever letting them use the phone, and that's totally the same thing, right?
The way he amuses those chickens is not appropriate for children.
That's another matter entirely.
I can't argue, because I was given cable in my room when I was a kid. And
What?
Yeah, but were you an infant?
You had your own room?
What?
Yeah, but were you... We're talking about this thing says infants. Like
okay,
infants,
as an infant, I don't remember being an infant, so I don't suppose it matters.
Okay, but you had cable in your room as a kid.
I had cable in my room as a kid, and
I had cable in my room too.
I didn't have cable or my own room, so I'm like the poor kid here apparently.
I had a computer and internet as early as I can remember, and I did all manner of bad things on it. And look how great I turned out.
So parents. Give your kids unlimited access to information, they turn into James Bruce. No. So you might want to avoid that. You might not want to do that. I don't know, like, I see this a lot. Kids in social events, particularly, if they're in the background, they used to be relegated to the basement where they'd all, quote, play with each other. Now they're just in a corner somewhere with a smartphone, keeping themselves busy. With instant access to cartoons and all these sorts of things I couldn't comprehend as a kid. I don't know. I feel like they should be still in socially awkward situations where they're not sure how to behave. It shows them. I don't know. I'm ranting now.
You are ranting.
Yeah, I kind of lost my mental track there,
Maybe
guys.
if you had a TV in your room, you wouldn't feel the need to rant so much.
You know what? If I had a TV in my room as a kid, I'd be socially well adjusted. Yeah.
You would have seen like all the episodes of South Park that you wanted when your parents didn't know after they went to bed.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. We only had the one TV in the house, and there was 2 people in my room with me and another room across the hall with 2 more in it. So, siblings.
You guys were packed?
We were packed in there pretty tight. When I got to college, I was just amazed with how big my room was and how little I had to share. Like there was only one person in the room with me, and it was so huge, and my roommate had the opposite reaction. It was very interesting. I'm never complaining.
I hate this annoying Justin Pot asshole.
I probably did, except he would have said it in very friendly words.
Oh, I'm sorry about that, eh?
No, he was American.
Oh.
I went to school in Michigan. Anyways, an artist in the Netherlands has turned his dead cat into a helicopter. You heard that correctly. I don't know if you saw the pictures of this, Dave, but it's kind of nuts.
I did not, but that sounds
How
weird.
did you not see this? Look, click the link right now and look at this cat helicopter.
I don't want to... Oh, wait, I did see this on Reddit. Yes, never mind. I saw this earlier. It looks so alive, man. It doesn't even...
Yeah, the thing that gets me is how the eyes. They're just looking right at me, but it's a cat with his arms spread out and his legs spread out, like he's laying flat on the floor or something. Made into a helicopter.
Squirrel.
Each of his limbs have blades, and it just flies. I put this on the Technophilia Facebook page, and it got more attention than anything I've posted there in a long time. I just wanted to get some of the comments. My mom says, that's just weird. Matthew Day says, ew, it would be less disconcerting if the face wasn't so lifelike, which I totally agree with. Another person said, sick bastard.
I'd like to just correct you.
Fox
It's not a
Pavender.
helicopter.
It's an extreme taxidermy.
It is. It is in fact a quadricopter, not
It's
a
a
helicopter.
quadricopter.
A quadricopter. I thought. Okay, sorry. Does it have 4? I thought it just had the 2 arms with the blades.
Are you going to carry a cat with one single little blade whirling around in the middle?
Well, I just don't know if it's
Depends on
4.
how big the cat is.
I don't know. I don't know if you saw the video at the bottom of this article, but it doesn't fly very well. I don't care if the cat story is old. We're talking about it, chat room, because this is weird.
Chat room, shut
not
up.
everything needs to be new. Yeah. You know what? I can talk about whatever I want. The chat, it does date back to 2012, but you know what? I found it. I'm weirded out.
I'm gonna punch you in the face, Scudderman.
Yeah, Scudderman. I like Scudderman.
That
Scatterman.
wasn't Scudderman. What are you talking about?
Scudderman hasn't said anything yet.
Carry on.
He only says really
The old
intelligent
cat.
things.
He said that this story's old too. He agreed with.
Oh yeah, he was going to point that out. Whatever. It's
Well,
cool.
it is old. Don't.
Listen, no
Don't
one.
dwell on
This
it.
is not called the Technophilia New Shit Everyday Podcast. It's just.
Well,
called
we did call this section the news. I just don't care that this one's old. 'Cause,
Listen, it was news at one point.
Yeah. Whatever.
Even the Daily Mail covered it. Apparently, you lost a lot.
You know what?
cred,
Technophiliacs responded. They saw this article on our page and they liked it, so I thought I would at least comment. Fine, though, you want something new? What's on Google's mystery boat? What's going on? There's a boat that Google owns in the San Francisco Bay. They had a patent issued for a floating mobile server or data center, but no one knows what's on it. Someone sent over reporters asking questions, and they really weren't getting responses. This thing's huge, by the way. So
It's
anyone-
seriously a data center on a boat.
we've no idea. But they do have a patent for a floating data center.
You don't think it
So
might just
it
be a
could
party boat or something?
You think? Why would they be keeping this such a huge secret?
So you don't know they have a
want people
party
in their
boat
party. Yeah.
They might have a party boat.
because you weren't invited to the party. So they're like, yeah, sorry about that, but you're not cool. So yeah, no party for you.
Anyways, CNET sent reporters over there knocking on doors, and they kept getting sent away by security. They went to great lengths to try to figure out what is on Google's mystery boat, but we still don't.
Wow,
No.
CNET, way to go for the hard-hitting stories.
Yeah. CNET's
fucking boat.
on it, and they're sending someone to the boat to figure out what's going on. They spent a lot of time on it, too. You should read the article.
They
It's
spent like 3/4 of their yearly budget trying to get to this fucking boat. And they didn't even figure out what it is.
CBS understands the future of journalism.
Yeah,
It's
CBSI,
mystery
they
boats.
know what's going on, man. They don't play. They got GiantBomb.com too, you know. They
It's a
got
pretty cool.
everything.
Wait, Giant Bomb is CBS?
Yeah, CBSI
Wow.
bought them.
I thought
They're-
they were
they're-
cool and independent.
No, they're in the same. They're right next door to GameSpot. You know where they had.
Who
the
they
whole
broke
thing.
off of? Oh yeah, we've talked about that before.
Yeah,
That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
too.
they
Okay.
share like a building and they use the same studio.
How do I sell out to CBSI so I can have an office and?
Well, first you have to make a website that's good. So
okay.
There's
Okay.
that, and then
Okay.
you have to have a really good personality, like Jeff and Vinny and all them. So you're gonna have to work on that too.
Okay. So I can't do that really.
Right. Yeah, and then you'll need two good co-hosts on your podcast. So that's gonna be a big
Well,
problem.
definitely
Well,
just
we've
shit
got
out of
half
luck
of
here.
that
Yeah.
covered.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
we're
right.
pretty-
But we got to get
We're
rid of
pretty-
James.
We should probably just give up on this goal. We're missing a lot of the qualities.
Yeah, I'm depressed now. You know what's happy though is cable subscribers are subsidizing you. If you don't have cable, you should thank the people who do every day, according to this opinion piece at xconomy.com. I kind of has a point. There's no way the shows that we love would be able to exist just with a little $10 a month subscription to Netflix. It's because people are paying upwards of $80 a month for cable that these shows are being made in the first place. So even though I personally don't want to pay for cable, I'm very thankful for the people that do. James, tell me why this is a load of crap.
I don't think it is actually. I firmly believe that most of society pays a stupid amount for stuff so that the rest of us who are skimming off of it can do nicely.
This is exactly how I feel about clothing. I'm so glad people buy way too much clothes and then give it away to thrift stores because it means I can buy the same clothes that's barely been worn for $1. Exactly. I think it's the same thing, yeah. So thanks, people who pay so much without thinking. You're making it really possible for those of us who don't want to pay to do so.
Well, yeah. I could be topical and say it's the same with energy companies here as well, because there's a lot of news in the news right now. People are being overcharged for their energy, and I just went to a comparison site and checked mine. I'll switch for anything, you know. I'm one of those people who will just, I don't give a damn, I'll just switch, and I've got the cheapest supplier. So I'm like, well, you lot go ahead, keep paying your expensive prices, and you subsidize my cheap ones if that's okay.
Yeah. I can't remember. Do you have cable, Dave?
Yeah, but real basic.
Well,
remember this is when I said I have a real small package?
Yeah. That was the best episode name ever. I think that one does have a noticeable uptick in downloads, so I don't know. I don't know if people just like the title or what, but if you look at our stats, people really liked hearing about your small package. So we should have a package-themed title this week, too, just to see if that happens again.
Dave's package grew?
Dave's package is growing. I did read somewhere that I think it was Time Warner or Comcast, I can't remember who, but they're thinking of offering an HBO plus internet package. This seems like a good idea. I would pay for something like that.
That sounds interesting.
So you just get the basic cable channels, HBO, and internet. That's it. And it was like $10 a month instead for the cable part instead of like, yeah.
For some reason, my HBO is supposed to be a 6-month trial, but I've been in this house for like a year and I still have HBO, so I don't know.
I highly recommend you don't talk to your cable company.
Yeah, they forgot to shut it off. I don't know what happened.
It was my in-laws have the same thing. They told the cable guy, "Hey, we get HBO. We're not paying for it," and the cable guy's just like, "Don't worry about it."
Yeah, I checked.
Okay,
I'm not being charged for it, so whatevs.
I've got a title suggestion here. James's package is smaller. Good work. You are technically on a tiny Chromebook, so.
Wait, but how much cable do you have, James? Because this has to be accurate.
I have a very basic package.
Is you think you have less?
I have the smallest package I could find.
Or alright, so it could be James has a basic package.
We are 5 years old.
It's small, but it's functional, you know.
Are you one of those guys who thinks it's not the size that counts, it's what you do with it? Is that?
Yeah,
I mean, that's just a lie.
If you're watching quality programming with your small package, then it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
exactly.
Moving right along.
Yeah.
Ars Technica has a great long piece. It's from a couple of weeks ago, so sorry if it's the olds and not the news chat room. But about the extent Google goes to control its Android OS. Android basically, from Google, was an effort to get into a market they thought Apple was going to dominate. But 5 years later, they're dominating that same market with software they don't have control over. It's open source. That means anyone can do anything they want with it. And in China, where a great deal of the user base is, it doesn't integrate with Google's services. Why? Google's blocked there, so why would it? That would make no point at all. So Google is trying to control an open platform using these closed... I keep reading about James's package in the chat room. Totally distracting. Google Play is the main part of their effort to extend this open source platform just enough so that some of the most convenient parts thereof aren't open and depend on you signing up with Google to use it. If you buy an app in Google Play, you can sync it to any other device that has Google Play. But there are a lot of companies that are extending Android and then removing that part of it, most notably Amazon sells an alternate version. So anyways, it's an interesting article. If you're into open source at all, you can see the extent to which it's been corrupted with the Android project by reading this. I highly recommend that you do.
Can you...
James, why is Android... What's up?
I was going to say, can you TLDR it? I'm not going to read all that.
I kind of just did. Oh. Yeah, Google is building proprietary software on top of an open source system in order to make it so that even though anyone can use it however they like, it's less useful if you do. And I would say Google Play is the biggest part of that. Google Play is completely closed source, but it's part of what makes Android useful. And yeah. they're trying to take control of their platform, as opposed to Apple, who just owns the software completely, controls it implicitly.
Imagine if Google hadn't jumped in, how much iPod would be just absolutely, or iPod, how much Apple would just be crushing the smartphone market.
Oh yeah.
Windows
Well, I
Phone.
wonder if Palm's smartphone OS would have done a little better if Google hadn't jumped in.
No, nobody likes Palm. Nobody
come
ever.
on, it's not like there wouldn't have been alternatives. Just if Android wouldn't.
Yeah,
have been
but
around.
I mean, who the hell? Nobody wants the
You can't
alternative.
retroactively.
No,
say
no.
that
I think the reason nobody wants Palm, Dave, is because there was already Android and iOS. There was just no reason to look at it. But it's a very nicely put together system. It could have filled that niche. If not Palm, something else. The problem Palm had is the same one Windows is having now. You can't make the developer community pop up around something spontaneously. It's kind of by chance, really. I mean, Apple got the developer community quickly because a few people got rich, and then lots of other people wanted to get rich. But it's almost a luck thing, you know?
Wait, people like getting rich?
People love getting rich.
Oh,
yeah.
That makes sense.
Which is another, I think, why open source. I've talked about this before. It was in an email thread this week I was talking about how depressing covering Linux is now. I used to write about some new piece of software every week. I can't think of anything that's popped up. I think all these developers in college or like just making stuff for fun in their spare time, they're all making stuff for Android or iOS in the hopes that they'll strike it big. So there's no one making as much free software as they used to, I find. Because people like to get rich. And there's no point in making Palm software if they've got 1 million users, if you can write for Android and reach 50 or 100 million potentially. It's just not the same scale.
Yep.
Yeah.
Damn smart.
So anyways, moving right along to a story I think is near and dear to James. Rental service. It's Uber for chickens. To use a buzzword that you can read about it in the New York Times, so you know it's legit. It's in Ann Arbor, Michigan. You can pay, and they will deliver for the year some chickens, a place for them to sleep, and enough feed to get them through the summer. And you can have as many of the eggs that come out as you want. Or don't. It's like a way to test whether having chickens in your backyard would be fun or not. James, I think it's considerably more expensive than the setup you have, though.
My chicken coop was actually a lot more than that.
Well, I don't know if it comes with a coop.
Oh yeah. They deliver you the coop as well.
Oh, they deliver the coop. Of course, this is the one article you read, right?
I skimmed through it now. It's like $350, which is quite a lot, but.
$350 a year, and you could have chickens in your yard. And they're setting up a franchise model. So if it's not in your city yet, it might be later.
We should totally open them up, Justin. I could get the Connecticut branch going. You could get the Colorado, and then we'll have rented chickens all over the universe.
I don't think if you buy it. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
What happens when the fox gets them?
Well, then he says something. He says, "Yeah."
Oh, I hate you so much.
No, I mean, there must be a fine for having to replace dead chickens, right?
Yeah, no, there almost definitely is. I know if it was here, a fox would definitely get it. There's foxes all over here. I see them running down the street. I'm going to say this. Colorado foxes are cocky.
What the fox say?
No, stop, Dave. Fox isn't going to say a damn thing if he doesn't stop messing with my chickens.
Have you guys heard their new song, the Massachusetts one?
Oh, it's so bad.
Oh, it's so good.
These guys aren't funny at all.
The Massachusetts one is hilarious.
No, it's not. I watched it the whole time, and I'm like, is this gonna get funny soon? When's the funny coming?
When they start spelling the name of the state wrong, and then they just sing it anyway, that's so funny.
No one's done that.
Coco, that's way too many K's. Oh, I love it. So good.
They're not funny.
They are hilarious. You have bad taste.
They got lucky with the fox thing.
How do you say their name? Do you know?
I don't know. I don't want to say their name.
It's YLV.
Oh, hey, Mom. Mom says she has chickens. Yeah, she has a couple chickens, 20,000 or so.
Ask your mom if she knows how to say.
Considered renting them out?
Yeah, why don't you rent your chickens out, Mom? That might be fun. You can make them, apparently.
This sounds
but
like
she doesn't have layers, it's broilers.
If I move to the country, I'll try and rent out some chickens.
Try to rent out some chickens, yeah.
I'll put that
it seems like it would be easier to just have a chicken farm and less work, and you wouldn't need to drive the chickens to places and answer questions from people. But okay, whatever you want.
There's no money in farming nowadays.
Yes, there is. Are you kidding me? I don't care what anyone says. Farming is the only useful occupation. Everything else we do, from logging to like an electrician, like if there's no farmers, you don't get to do what you do anymore.
I completely agree, but I think it's a tough life that you can't make money on nowadays. At least not in the UK, where you're fighting against, these kind of bastards with 20,000 chickens.
Yeah. 20,000 chickens is a small farm, James. That's not a big farm.
That's a big
Fair
farm.
enough, whatever.
That's a lot of chickens, man. What do you do with all those chickens?
And Dwayne is saying, who I think is Dave P, I'm assuming. He's saying that, no, they're not funny, Dave, you suck. I completely agree. That Massachusetts song is awful.
Dave posted the thing on Facebook and said he liked it.
I have no idea
maybe that's not him then. Anyways, hi, Mom. Happy anniversary.
Hey, they have a new song out that I haven't heard, actually. It's been out for a month. I missed it, called The Cabin.
Mom says, let farmers raise the chickens. Well, Dave disagrees. James disagrees. He's got some chickens in his backyard. He thinks of them as their friends. I put some chicken diapers as a joke on our, I forget where. I'm like, this is so stupid. And he's like, oh, that's so cool. My chickens could come inside.
I'd love to let my chickens in the house.
I grew up on a farm. You and I have different ideas about animal-human relationships then.
Is your mom the What the Fox Say song? What's her opinion?
I have no idea. We can wait if my mom says something, but that song sucked.
Right, moving on.
Facebook and Google are both in an awkward position. Both are publicly complaining about the fact that the government is spying on us. But both these companies literally spy on us to make their living. Spying on us is their bread and butter. It's where they get their money. So they're in a difficult place, right? Because they're all trying to publicly say, in accordance to the public pushback against the NSA, that, yeah, spying on you, that's totally wrong. But meanwhile, that's what they do. If Google can't, monitor your search habits to see what you're interested in, their advertising becomes worth a heck of a lot less. And Facebook's, I think, only worth anything according to the stock market because of the massive amount of your data they have to exploit eventually. So they're in a bit of a weird position. I find it a bit of a contradiction, and I don't know how long they can keep making these arguments that what the government's doing is wrong without it coming back to slap them in the face. What do you think, Dave?
Massachusetts. I think that I think it's the pot calling the kettle black.
No, wow, that is actually an appropriate use of that expression.
Yes, that's right.
James?
I found it.
I think they should just try and work out some more effective strategies by joining with the NSA and Google and Facebook together and pooling all of their knowledge.
They really could.
More effective.
So they could know everything about everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they
could better ads.
Then they could deliver really specific ads.
But
if they start putting ads that say hey, do you want to overthrow the Zionist regime? Click here to buy nuclear weapons. Then maybe the NSA can be like, oh wait, this guy got our nuclear weapons ads. Maybe we should do something. It could serve everyone's best interest, really. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I don't see what the fuss is.
Yeah. They should just work together openly. Yep. Google, Facebook, the NSA, working together to deliver more relevant ads to you.
As well as
You're
schools,
right, this
apparently.
is the best idea ever. Oh, yeah, schools are also spying on their students, not necessarily because they want to. There was a recent suicide primarily because of online bullying, and now increasing number of school boards are feeling like they need to do something as outraged parents tell them, why does this happen? I really don't think it's any of the school's business what these kids do online, but it does affect the social life, and it's harder and harder than ever to distinguish the difference between online and offline. So when does a school's responsibility to a student stop? Interesting question. I'm not sure. But the result of these questions being asked and the result of this public outcry against bullying is that schools now feel responsible for spying on their students. They kind of feel like they have to, or they'll be held responsible when something bad happens again. Again, these suicides and this bullying is a real problem, and I don't have a solution outside of this, but it's kind of disturbing what this is leading to, as it always does. James?
I feel like it can't be as bad as that school that gave all its students a webcam-enabled computer a while back, and they were looking at the webcams for what the students were doing at home.
Oh my goodness.
Can't quite be as bad as that one. I'm sure we talked about that last year.
Robert Wiesahan, our buddy in the chat room, is saying, I feel like I get some sort of small value out of Google and Facebook spying, though. Recommendations and such. Well, I don't know. Do you think freedom is a small value, Rob? Do you
Not
think
being blown up?
liberty is a small value?
Hey, freedom isn't free, all right, guys?
Yeah.
I saw that on a bumper sticker once, so it has to be true.
I do feel like being spied on by the NSA and being prevented from being blown up is a small value, yes.
Well,
So I
probably.
appreciate that as well.
I don't mean to say that what the NSA is doing okay. I just feel like Facebook's useless. That's my argument. Sorry.
But Facebook lets you, book.
Waste time.
Yeah, Facebook.
Got to thank them for
I'm
that.
perfectly capable of wasting time on my own. I did it before Facebook, and I'll continue doing it long after Facebook's gone. Do you guys read What If XKCD? Because if you don't, you really should.
No.
It's a weekly blog from the creator of XKCD,
What's
Randall.
XKCD?
You don't know XKCD?
Is that stupid comic site?
Learn how to
Stupid.
internet, jackass. It's the best.
Stupid
comic
because you
site.
don't understand it, I'm
Anyways.
guessing.
He has a new blog
Never
called
read
What
it.
If, and he answers questions from readers, and it's fantastic. And this week the question was, at what point will there be more dead users on Facebook than living ones? He really
God.
gets into detail about it, and it's amazing. I think this was prompted because he did a cartoon earlier this week saying basically in 2030-something, the number of Lego men on Earth will outnumber the number of humans because the birth rate's going down and people die, but Lego people just keep being made and they never disappear. There's just Lego men. So
But they break.
They do break, but not at as fast a rate as people die.
We got to start breaking Lego men.
Yeah. If you don't read What If, you really should. It's XKCD taken to its logical conclusion. I think like he should have been doing this years ago. It's wonderful. That's whatif.xkcd.com.
See, you
Facebook
have
isn't
perfect
going
way-
away, says Mom. You know what? That's what they said about MySpace. Stuff goes away. I mean, Microsoft seemed like they would completely dominate operating systems forever, and now they can't get onto mobile devices to save their life. Facebook will be replaced eventually, just not by Google+. Speaking of Google, they may not be good at building social networks people actually like to use, but they are getting pretty good at making cars. They are claiming now that their cars are already better at driving than you. Yes, you. They're saying that their cars have a better safety rating than most human drivers, even professional drivers. This bodes well, doesn't it? James?
I completely agree. I don't know what would be controversial about that.
Mm.
I mean, how could it
Well,
not be true?
we're just taking Google's word for it, for one thing.
No, I mean,
really
we're taking
want...
data, the fact that they've never had an accident despite logging thousands of hours of driving.
Yeah.
The fact is that the people are emotional and stupid, and you can get a driving license for doing bugger all nowadays.
And
So,
computers don't
yeah.
do drugs.
There's
Some
that
do.
too. They don't
Or
drink
drink.
and drive. They don't have to mess around on their mobile phone, or at least they can because they can do both
Yeah.
at the same time. For many, many
They're
reasons,
saying it
it's
would-
logical.
Even if statistically only 10% of people use self-driving cars, it would reduce accidents dramatically and save the U.S. economy billions of dollars cleaning up after these things. So, I mean,
Makes
again,
sense.
we have like thousands of people dying every month because humans insist on driving. And it's going to become a moral argument eventually. Don't drive. Let your computer do it.
Can a
I-
self-driving car avoid an accident? Like
Yeah.
human
Yes, of
veers
course it
into your lane, it can see
Yes.
it and move.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's,
if
it's being
it-
programmed now to
cut you
adapt to
up.
bad driving skills.
The point is, if someone tries to cut you up, for example, it won't react to that. It will just keep on driving. Whereas if it was like me, I would beep at them, try and overtake them, swear at them out the window, and then stick a finger up at them, right? And that's not what a self-driving car would do.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you'd still be in the car to do those things.
The thing about this is...
No, but he's going to be looking at his phone instead. No, I was thinking about this. I was at Boulder Open Coffee about a month ago, and someone said, yeah, what's really going to be useful for these heads-up displays is putting them on car windows so that you can see information as you're driving just on the windshield of your car. And I'm like, yeah, that'll be ready about the time self-driving cars are everywhere, so
Wait.
kind of useless. I think
hang
people
on,
are going to
hang
have
on,
these
hang on.
self-driving
I'm testing
cars,
one
and they're going
right
to
now.
love them because they're going to be able to go on Twitter or
I have
whatever.
one of the new Garmin HUDs. That's the next review I'm doing this month. It's
oh,
on
really?
my
You have a
Wednesday
heads-up
now.
display for your car?
Yes, it's crap.
Okay.
I should add.
James Bruce will be missed. He died in a car accident because he was distracted.
It's not distracting. It's just not very
No.
good.
What does it show you? Just your speed?
Well, it's not the complete map, for instance.
Mm.
It only tells you where you're going next, like turn left in 30 meters.
Well, you wouldn't want a complete map in front of you, would you?
That would be.
Well, that's what a navigation thing
Yeah.
is. Yeah, I would, because
But you don't want that on your windshield. Anyways,
No,
I
that's
look
a good
forward
point.
to
It's
your
not
review.
accurate enough.
It would be cool if it overlaid on the roads and like said the name of the road and the intersections. It pointed out what they were, because I am constantly, when I have directions to somewhere, almost getting into car crashes because, oh, where is the street sign this time? It's like a game. They hide it on me. So like, if there was a little heads-up display, maybe it would be a little
I
better.
think the problem with any of these estimates on how Google cars are gonna help us are kind of ignorant of the fact that people who cause the accidents will not be using self-driving cars. They will continue to want to drive.
That's why I was
But
asking.
the Google cars will be better at defensive driving than we are too. That's the thing. It'll be better
That's
at
an
avoiding
interesting
stupid
point.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in general, the young idiots who go out and get drunk, they're not going to get a self-driving car. They're gonna want to drive themselves.
Well, eventually, all the cars will be self-driving, and it will be mandatory. But that would
That's
probably
the
be
end
like
game.
that
There'll
probably
be like
hope so.
some road in Montana where people are allowed to drive manually, but everywhere else you're not allowed to drive. That should be the rule. And eventually car ownership will become optional because there will be publicly available self-driving cars everywhere that you can use affordably instead of buses.
You just like send a text message like I'm here, and then it puts out an alert to all the buses, and the closest self-driving bus will come get you.
Yeah, that's what I think. I'm so glad. Title: James Bruce is dead. Image: a crowd cheering. I think we have our winner.
We're not giving him a t-shirt.
Let's move on to this week's piracy tip, James. This is your
piracy
department.
tip for this week.
Yeah.
Would you like a legit copy of iWork and iLife? Well, then go ahead and download an old pirate version, then upgrade to Mavericks, and it'll upgrade your versions to a legit one for you.
That you can then upgrade forever using the Mac App Store. But here's it's even worse than you think, James. You don't need a pirate version of iWork or iLife. You can just download the old trial versions work. So if you have a trial version you installed back in like 2007, the Mac App Store is just going to detect it. This is what I just had a trial version of iWork, I think, and it just detected it, and now I've got the full version. So,
I mean, you know what though? They're both free with new Macs anyway, so it's. I think
Apple they just didn't want to spend the time protecting it. It's fine. Yeah. I think they just want people to use their software generally.
Yeah, why don't they just make it free regardless? Wouldn't that be easier?
I think they probably should. I think maybe they are holding out that a few people will buy it. Yet.
So
iWork. I mean, if you buy a new Mac, it's free, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And Scudderman is pointing out that people drive for fun, and those people will be able to buy something called Grand Theft Auto 10, and they can drive all they want. Just don't do it on my... You can do that, and you can run over people for bonus points and smash into buildings all you want. You can even do it drunk for all I care. Just don't do it on the real streets, because if you die in the real world, you just die. It's like real life, man.
I heard there's no respawn points in RL.
Oh, there are. Do you ever go to Reddit, the subreddit Outside?
No.
Oh, you should check that. There are people who comment on what's happening in the real world as though it's a big video game. So a couple of months ago, for example, they're like, is anyone else's government down? That seems to be just happening in the USA region.
Anyone in the chat room, can you identify what internet video that line that I said was from? The no respawn. I said, man, I heard there's no respawn points in RL. Yeah, I want to see if anyone can identify the famous internet video which that comes from.
There's one with a picture of a cat on a chair.
You're not in the chat room, James, so give them
a random critter wandered into my daily quest zone. So yeah, I'd highly recommend Reddit.
Are you going to give them a T-shirt for identifying that?
I don't know. Am I allowed to give them a T-shirt? Yeah.
For identifying what? I feel like the point was to get more people to do it.
For identifying the line that
you just have to say what famous internet video it's from.
Famous internet.
What is going on? I got distracted by Reddit.
I said, man, I heard there's no respawn points in RL, which is from a very famous viral internet video from like 8 years ago.
So we can give a T-shirt if someone identifies it?
I don't know. Can we?
Do it.
I think you
Do
can.
it. I'm speaking for Jackson. We can.
Okay.
Identify which video it's from and you win. Dave will check the results. An indie film director, I don't know who wrote directory here, good job outlining people, uploads his own video to Pirate Bay with a little bit of a surprise. James, what's the surprise? I'm scared.
I almost don't want to talk about this. So look, the movie is it's called Pornopung. My pronunciation's probably terrible there. It's called Pornopung, which is actually translated as shaved balls in shaved scrotum, sorry, in Swedish, I think it is. And so the director of the movie, the guy who created it, just uploaded like the first 10 minutes was legit the actual movie. So anyone downloading it would have said, "Oh yeah, it's good." They would have rated it good. And then
Dwayne got it first.
There's 120 minutes of the creator's shaved scrotum.
Awesome. 120 minutes?
120 minutes of...
Like, is it a static image, or is there actually a camera on?
I think he actually... I didn't download it, I should say. I think he talks for a little bit just about stuff, and then it's on his balls.
All right, so, Dwayne wins the shirt, guys.
Okay, Dwayne wins the shirt. Send us a DM on Twitter, or somehow get us your email address so that we can contact you and get you a T-shirt.
I'll give him the form to.
What was the answer? Tell us.
It's FPS Doug. It's the boom headshot. You know that guy.
That guy. Yeah.
Yep.
And Alex is the first to link to the video, though.
Oh, yeah. That should be.
No, Alex can have the T-shirt.
What?
You know?
Dwayne,
nice guy.
He's got 2 on order already. All right, Alex, and you get a T-shirt.
Free T-shirt. You know what? We should have given him a free T-shirt for guesting with us 2 weeks ago, anyway. So there you go,
that's
Alex.
It for FPS Doug for being second on FPS Doug. So congratulations.
2 on order.
Speaking of nudity, let's move on to the gaming news, the part of the show where Dave LeClaire talks. Beyond Two Souls came out about a month ago, and it stars Ellen Page as the protagonist. A virtual version thereof, and now there is a nude image of Ellen Page.
It's not
from the show.
Ellen Page, though.
No, it's not her. It's a computer recreation of her.
It's not even an actual scan of her body.
No, it's not. But the VB has been reporting it as though it is this, and this is bizarre. I don't know why the programmers actually made a fully nude version of this character.
Presumably, she didn't do the motion capture naked.
No, probably not. Presumably not. This is just so weird that this is a story, but it is. It's been all over, and I guess someone just had a programmer's version of the console or a developer console, and from there you can change the camera angles, even though cutscenes. Now the cutscenes were not pre-rendered; they were done in real time, and that I guess is the undoing. But it's amazing how people who don't know the finer details of this can turn it into a controversy as though this is, Anyways, weird. Yeah.
So, wait, the developers of this game released a fake image of a naked 3D model?
Not the developers of the game. There was a naked 3D model that existed and does not show up anywhere if you play through normally. But someone had a developer console, and that allowed him to change the camera angle during the cutscenes, which apparently they made a nude version of the actress. I don't know why, but they did. And that's where the screenshots leaking onto the web come from.
Well, that's just weird.
Yeah. I don't. Why are you making a nude? Programmers, what are you doing? I mean, Barbie doesn't actually have nipples because you're not supposed to look at Barbie with her shirt off, right? I mean, why is digital Ellen Page different? I don't understand. Anyway, GTA 5 has sold 29 million copies. They're almost matching I mean, meaning the people living in that city are almost matching the population of Canada or half of the UK. So that's pretty exciting, I guess.
You just gave away the form in the chat room for
oh, now everyone's going to get one. What is your problem? This is why I said to do it on Twitter.
Oh, well.
You idiot.
Well, unless it's in the notes, unless it actually is the... unless it's Alex.
No, Alex, if it's really you, put in the comment section, it's really me, okay?
Yeah,
we'll know then.
Problem, Jay. I can't believe you just did that.
Well, I've always just sent this form out to people all the time when they won. I figured
that's why you get their email. You don't put it in a public. Oh, whatever.
No one reads this thing anyway.
Have fun with your free T-shirts, everyone.
I've posted it on Make You Stuff's Facebook before. Jackson told me to.
Okay, that's fine. I'm sure it's fine. Alex, use it. Everyone else, don't. You'll get a free T-shirt and it will be amazing, but don't use it.
Whatever you do, don't put your name as Alex.
Yeah.
That would be wrong.
Alex.
Well, we know Alex lives in Pennsylvania, so if you're in some stupid state like Texas, we're going to see right through it.
Alex, include your email address in that notes section.
What?
If you could just leave your social security number in the chat, it's going to help us send you the T-shirt, guys. Did I ever tell you how I'm a Nigerian prince? Okay, the Brazilian Xbox One manual has leaked. They found someone on the internet apparently who reads both Portuguese and English, and they've translated it. Apparently, the new Kinect works from 1.4 meters instead of 1.8. Here to tell me why this matters at all is Dave, let's say. Dave?
Well, it matters for people who have the biggest complaint with Kinects, besides it being crappy, was that it only worked in larger rooms because you had to stand 1.8 meters back from the Kinect. So now you get 0.4 meters closer, so you can have it in a slightly smaller room with the new Kinect. Yay! So now you cannot use the Kinect in a smaller room.
That sucks.
Yay! That's all.
So I shouldn't bother getting the new Xbox because my room's not nearly big enough to do this.
Well, you really want to use Kinect anyway?
Oh yeah, I want to play Kinectimals.
I don't know if there's going to be a sequel to Kinectimals.
That's the only game I care about in the world.
That's the only game that was worth playing. That was awesome.
Was it? I never played it.
Oh, the minutes of fun I had rolling around in the grass with my fake bear.
I had a good amount of fun with the Dance something game.
Dance Central, that was awesome.
Yeah, that's it.
I still play that.
Awesome. Well, I think that's about it for the show, unless someone in the chat room has something amazing that we simply must talk about. There is an article here from Kashi George called the craziest, most awesome theories about when Kit Kat's coming out. I don't get it.
Well, what's the craziest theory then?
No, there's not theories. There's things Android has put on Twitter which is leading to theories. So someone, I don't know. I don't get it. I think it's dumb. I'm not going to talk about that, except now I have. Got anything else, James?
No. Does anyone care when Kit Kat's coming out? It's only going to be like 5% of people who update anyway.
Yeah, because you can't upgrade till your carrier does.
Exactly. So
yeah.
What's the big bloody deal?
Though I'm hoping with this new XDA developers installer for Android that works without you even needing to root your phone, that it could be a lot easier for people to upgrade ahead of time. So keep a lookout for that. But you're right, it doesn't matter for most people. I mean, if it comes out next month, I probably won't get it till January, right? When ASUS puts out an upgrade for my tablet. That's just how it is. That's kind of the crappy thing about Android. But better that than an unstable update that causes my tablet to crash. Hate if that happened, huh, ASUS? Oh wait, you already did that. Jackasses.
They hate you.
They hate me so much. Thanks so much for listening to the show. If you listen to the show on iTunes or some other music player, did you know that there's a video experience you can engage with? You know the chat room we talked to? Those aren't just voices in my head, so far as I know. It's an actual thing. If you go to makeuseof.com on Wednesday mornings in the U.S., afternoons in Europe, and presumably some other time in Asia, you can watch us live. You can type stuff to us and interact, and you can even see my beautiful face and James and Dave's the mediocre faces, let's say. And you can interact with us. So you can do that at makeuseof.com. Stay tuned for the launch of makeuseof.tv whenever James gets off his ass and builds it.
Whoa.
Where I think the idea would be for the live show to always be at makeuseof.tv/live, and we're working on a couple other shows for you that I think are going to be pretty cool.
You might You might even get to be in the chat room and have Dave accidentally give the redemption form for free.
Yeah, seriously. Who knows? We have his email address even. Like,
are we changing the live show time to match America or something? Because right now it started at 3 in the UK, right?
What?
Okay. So what happened? And I'm sorry if anyone outside America is missing the live show. But what happened is daylight savings does not change until this weekend. So this weekend we will be back in sync, James, and we will. Okay. I think 11 a.m. Eastern is kind of our anchor time that we go by.
So we're not going
because honestly, I cannot do this. I do it at 9 in the morning now. If I do it at 8 in the morning, I will just die spontaneously. I'm not willing to go any earlier than we are right now. I would like it if the show was a little later, but I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, I'd like to go back 1 hour.
Yeah, that would be good, but I don't know how that would work for you, James, and we don't need to talk about this on the show. If you're only watching the video, if you've never experienced the audio podcast, it's a pretty convenient way to listen to the show. You don't have to look at our faces, for one thing. You can't interact with us, but that's okay. You don't really do that anyways. You can download the podcast on iTunes. Just search for Technophilia. Or you can get the RSS feed at makeuseof.tv. It's pretty easy.
But the point was we will be back to 4 p.m. UK time next week.
Yes, 4 p.m. UK time. So
gotcha.
If you're in the UK, yeah. I mean, yeah, daylight savings, remember, is this weekend for you North American listeners. So keep that in mind. Change your clocks. If you could do us a huge favor by leaving a review on iTunes, we'd really appreciate it. If you want to hear more from us during the week, you can like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Technophilia Podcast, or you can go to twitter.com/TheTechnophilia in order to see stories that we might talk about throughout the week, react to them, and you might hear yourself mentioned on the show. And generally, we try to be hilarious. And you can see pictures of our cat helicopter story. That isn't new, but still amazing. Thanks so much, everyone, for listening. And now we're going to go to the part of the show where I play with Photoshop. So that's one of the many benefits of listening live.
Luke's just texted me some stories for me to talk about on the podcast, and I didn't look.
You're going to have to work out your personal disputes later. You can do it in the after show. But for now, I'm going to say thanks to everyone who listens.
Bye. Wait, we're
Bye,
not.
guys.
Bye.
Yeah. Okay. So we had a lot of really great title suggestions this week. I don't know if James Dies is my favorite. Nope. Okay, so what do we got? We got mediocre faces, mediocre podcast. I just saw Dave picking his nose. If you get a screenshot of that, we can make that the image.
That was my eye, not my nose.
Picking your eye.
I haven't even cleaned like the sleepers out of my eyes. I just woke up and came downstairs. Look at my chat and respond to what I said in the chat. In the Hangout chat.
Where?
In the Hangout chat. This chat.
I gotta open Hangouts.
No, the video thing. We're in right now. That thing.
You can find that. I'll get it to you. I can't believe you put the form out publicly.
Well, thankfully there was only 7 or 8 people in the chat room, so...
Yeah, but everyone who's listening now can find the chat room easily enough.
That's true. I'm going to delete it.
I almost pasted the email. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, don't put the email there in the chat. That'd be not what we want.
This episode includes one free T-shirt, some kind of coupon.
For everybody.
I'll say my name is Alex. Oh my goodness. Scudderman, thanks for stopping by again. I always like it when you're in the chat room because you say useful things, which is kind of unique. Oh, Robert. Do you want to make Numenera characters with Robert right now, guys?
No.
At this precise moment?
Yeah.
Sure, but I need a P first.
Okay, but Dave, you're not in?
No, you can just make my guy for me.
No, you got to participate in the process, dude.
Yeah, you kind of do, Dave. Don't be so
It sounds like a long and arduous process.
No, part of the benefits of Numenera is that it's actually a pretty easy process.
All right, Alex, I've just emailed you a special thing to put in the.
Right, give me a second.
I've put a special thing for you to put into the notes field. So you win.
Oh, okay.
Now I need to email Jackson and let him know that he may be getting a sudden influx of false T-shirt entries.
James's package is smaller. We've got a chicken saying tiny but functional. What? James's coop. James's coop coo. Coop coo. Oh man.
Where's Koshi?
What is Koshi's not? He's busy today. I didn't know he did.
That's the title suggestion.
Where's Koshi? What the chickens say? Fail. It's easier than D&D, I'm told. So can we get Rob into the chat room? Do you have his email address? Or you need that too.
I don't know that guy.
Here, I'm pulling up his email address so we can get him into the room here, and we'll make our characters for a future episode. In the chat, get Rob in here.
I just invited who I think is Rob.
Where's Koshi? Yeah, what's a good image for Koshi? I think he's just got the Dave and James swap places. Yeah, because usually James is the total douchebag.
Yeah, usually he's on the right and I'm on the left, and now I'm on the right and he's on the left.
Well, we need to decide on one, guys. What's got you inspired? Who has the time to say stupid stuff? Apparently lots of people, Scutterman. Apparently lots of people.
What the ox say?
I hate you so much.
You know how many views the Fox Say has on YouTube?
Yeah, Gangnam Style has even more. That doesn't mean it's awesome.
Gangnam Style is the most viewed video on YouTube by far.
Yeah.
It's the only one to have more than 1 billion.
That's like one view.
Yes, that's like one view, exactly.
Yeah. What's up? One sec, getting headphones, Rob says. So he'll be on soon. What's the title, though? I can kind of work on this if I know what I'm going for.
What do you think is
the
most...
Chat room, help me out here.
What's the second most viewed video? What do you think?
Probably some crappy music video.
Yep, Baby by your best friend.
Of course it is, you pot-smoking jerk.
And then for some reason the third most popular is a Jennifer Lopez video, but who the hell cares about Jennifer Lopez?
Wow.
She must really shake her booty in it a lot or something. That's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, because it's so hard to get explicit images online.
Yeah, but people like watching motion of Jennifer Lopez's butt.
I guess so.
She's famous for it. Like the only video that's not a music video is the that stupid Charlie bit my finger thing.
That's a pretty great one.
That's the number 6. Everything else is just music videos, including number 7, which is another video by Psy.
I'm kind of inclined towards Where's Kashi here, guys. Feedback.
Psy has 3 videos in the top 20 most popular videos on all.
Of course he does.
Man, Psy's awesome. I love Psy.
I like how he became accidentally famous. Well, he was famous in Korea, but then he.
I'm fairly certain he was already famous over there.
In Korea, yeah.
Yeah. 1.8 billion. It's getting ready to cross into the 2 billion mark area when the second most has 917 million. It's currently like double number 2. That's.
Oh, titles. Anyone? Who cares about Jennifer Lopez?
How about
name it after something in the after show, guys?
How about Something's Missing?
Something's missing, and then a Kashi's avatar.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that. I like that better than Where's Kashi.
Yeah, you want to be a little more vague. You don't want to be so like in your face.
Yep.
What's Koshi's avatar? I forgot.
It's the Anonymask.
Oh, right. The one from V for Vendetta?
Anonymous. I'm the worst. I'm the worst.
Hugo Weaving.
Is it? It's not Hugo Weaving though, because he's wearing like a suit.
Yeah, but Hugo Weaving is V in V.
Yeah.
Hugo Weaving is an awesome actor.
Hey, look, Mom, no Kashi. Hey, look, I found actual photos of him.
Wait, there's photos of Kashi?
Yeah.
Where? What's he look like?
Like, just some guy, you know?
I want to see him. How do I find these photos?
The Facebooks.
I don't think I'm friends.
Now we're stalking him. This is the opposite of what should happen. I'm just looking for a picture because I want to grab his avatar.
I don't think me and Koshi are friends on Facebook, though, so I don't know if I could see him.
Doesn't seem to matter.
He's probably public. Wow, we're up to 10,000 likes on Facebook now.
Yeah, that's all organic. That's all people who genuinely like the show. It's not fake at all.
They're not fake. They make use of it.
Rob shows up and starts laughing. How's it going, buddy?
I'm just chuckling because there's a dog on James's cam. There's just a dog right in front of James's cam.
I didn't even see that.
That's beautiful.
James isn't even here. There's just a dog watching us. That's fantastic.
I see a big group of people. Where's Koshi in this group?
You know what? I'm just trying to get an image of his profile so I can make it the art.
Secrets revealed. James
Stop stalking this guy.
That's Koshi. That's not what I imagined Koshi would look like.
What did you think he'd look like?
I pictured he'd look more. If you look at the group photo from December 20th, 2011.
I'm not gonna look at individual photos of the guy. This is weird.
There's a picture of like a giant group of people, and Koshi is in the group in the back of the group. And there's a guy to the right of Koshi who's more what I thought Koshi would look like.
I can't believe you're stalking our fans. This is like, I'm uncomfortable.
You're not curious what Koshi looked like?
I can contain my curiosity. So Rob, tell me about the process. Tell me about the process here.
Having to sit on the floor.
Well, it's pretty simple actually. Characters are assembled from kind of like three pieces, like a descriptor, a class, and a focus is what it's called. So from there, I mean, there's a few sub options under that, but basically it's do you want to be the fighty guy, the skill guy, or the magic guy, and then
magic guy called it.
What subset of each of those?
I want to be the naked guy.
The naked guy?
Yeah.
I don't think that's a thing. Robert is joining us here. If you're not familiar with him, you should go to twitch.tv/BandanaRob.
That's me.
And you can watch him.
Bandana as advertised.
You're still playing the Pokemons on that, right?
Oh my gosh, am I ever playing the Pokemons, man?
You're playing the Pokemons like a fiend.
James hates the Pokemons.
James
he has no soul.
Trying to build a competitive PvP team of Pokemon is no laughing matter.
Yeah,
I tried to get into that during the last Pokemon, doing like the EV stuff or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, this is not how I want to play Pokemon, so then I stopped.
It's more viable than ever before, though, because the connectivity is all very push of a button, though, for like connecting with your friends. Anyone on your list, you can see when they're online, send them little buffs, or trade with them, or battle them wherever you are in the game.
I don't have any friends on Pokemon because I'm way too lazy. I don't even know what my friend code is. So
I think you could get a friend right now, James.
Well,
yeah, but I'd have to go find my friend code. I don't want to fucking do that.
Well, no, but you just like I would say 70 out of the 100 people on my 3DS friend lists I don't even know. I just they're people who I met in Twitch TV streams and was like, hey, let's swap friend codes because. There are benefits.
Why do we have to use friend codes, Nintendo? It's fucking 2013. What the fuck?
Because Nintendo's stuck in the past.
Username like every other online system in the world, and let me.
Why do they have to keep making Super Mario 3 again and giving it more complicated names? Like this is.
That's fine. You can keep making the same games, but just get with the times for the internet shit. No one.
Hey, does this keep talking about Pokemon? I'm out of here.
Is this a fitting tribute? No, we're gonna make our characters. James, you can go first. We were talking about Pokemon because your dog was in the seat instead of you.
Well, he stole my seat, so I'm having to share it.
Does this art look okay, everyone?
Yes.
Something's missing. It's a Koshi-sized hole in our heart.
I bought 3 Steam games during our recording of our podcast. Why did I do that?
I don't know. I'm still like barely scratched the surface on Bastion. That game's gonna keep me busy for a long time.
I bought Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, which is supposed to be really good. I bought Amnesia: The Dark Descent, which is the previous Amnesia game, not the new one, and I bought Darksiders because I had Darksiders 2 from one of those THQ bundles, I think it was, and I was like, well, I don't have the first one, and it was on sale for $4, and Amnesia was on sale for like $6, and Brothers was on sale for like $8, so I spent like $16, but I have so many Steam games. Why did I buy these games?
No, the longer you speak, the file I have to download in HD gets bigger and bigger, like 100 megabytes a minute. So
so let's design your character. Rob, talk James through the process.
Okay. So yeah, James and Dave, are you guys did you guys hear what the pitch is for like what the setting is for this game? Are you familiar with pen and paper role playing games? What am I working with?
I'm familiar with D&D, not this system.
I've never played one, but I know what D&D is.
Okay, so
made by
good.
People who make magic.
Yeah, Numenera is instead of being set in a fantasy past, is set in a future that's supposed to be incomprehensibly far from our own. Earth has been inhabited by 8 civilizations that have been seeded or developed all the way through technological transcendence or annihilation and left behind their artifacts. And so you are playing people in the 9th civilization to spring up on Earth. And Earth has been so overused, reformed, and corrected that it's unrecognizable at this point. And you've got a relatively medieval level of intelligence and education, but you're finding technology that's completely incomprehensible to you to the point that it's basically magic. So that's the setting for Numenera. It's a game. It's a game at its core about discovery and about learning. What came before you. So the character creation. Like I said, there's 3 chunks to each character. The first thing you'll want to pick is kind of your class that determines like what subset of activity you're best at. There's 3 classes. There's the glaive. Glaives are the people who are really good at fighting. Even if you want to be like the nimble sort of fighter, the agile fighter, or the archer, you still want to pick a glaive if your core thing is fighting dudes. There is the nano.
You know, you're going to have enough context for this, Dave, because of the sheer amount of computer games you play. It's not going to be that hard to pick up, I think.
Yeah, it all sounds pretty similar.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Nanos are the spellcastery types. You'll get some amount of like blasty spells, but also utility stuff. And the idea being, your spellcasting stuff could be from being a genetically modified post-human psychic person. You could have technology or nanomachines integrated into your body that make these things possible. You may know or you may not know what makes your spellcasting style effects possible.
Mm-hmm.
And then lastly, there's the Jack, which is the skilled kind of guy. So if your thing is non-combat stuff that's non-magical, you want to pick a Jack. You get a wide variety of skills. You can climb, you can disarm devices, you can do that kind of stuff. So we don't necessarily have to have one of each of those, but there's 3 of those classes, and there's 3 of you. But there's certainly plenty of room that you could all be the same dude and not have overlap. So depending on what kind of play you want to have.
I would choose to be like a technomancer kind of hackery type. Maybe some kind of augmented tech.
Okay.
So, is there such a thing?
Well, there is. The question is, do you want to do it by way of the skill system, or are you more of a, like, I guess, do you have the...
Are we going to give you an item that gives you this ability, or are you going to do it through the skill system is the question, right?
Yeah, I guess, so that could either be a nano or a Jack. So the question is, do you do it through your skills, or do you do it through some sort of inherent advantage, like an interface or something that kind of puts you ahead of the common man?
Yes, I would say I've got an augmented body.
Augmented? Okay, so we're going to make you a nano.
Tech built into me.
Okay.
So let's see, that will be, it's Dave, Justin, and James. Oh, goodness. Okay, sorry, name's slipping.
James. You just say jackass. That's what I do.
James is an asshole.
Okay, so James will play a nano. Justin, you also wanted to be the spellcastery type for that stuff?
Yeah, but I could be a fighter. If Dave, what are you thinking? I'd like to have a nice round party. I'd like to be like a spellcaster, but more of an innate ability than like augmented tech.
Well, that's also covered. These are the classes that I'm pitching to you right now are like the mechanical elements. So he can pitch it as one thing, and you can pitch it as another. Also, if you pick either of the other two non-spellcastery things, there's ways to splash spellcasting.
Well, I think my character is completely unaware that it's technology. He thinks that he's just awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely viable. Yeah.
Cool.
So did you want to do the nano class and have like the full progression, or do you want to do the splash?
So explain the difference to me a little more again.
The nano is the core spellcasting one-off effects kind of guy. So you would have a big library of very diverse effects. If you do it by picking a different class and then splashing the casting, you'll have a very thematic subset. So you may have like fire spells or lightning.
Oh, I think I like that.
You want the splash?
Yeah, the splash.
Okay. So in that case, we need to decide: do you want to be a glaive, which means your main focus is more combat stuff, or a jack, which means your focus is more the skillsy stuff?
I am a glaive.
Glaive. And Dave.
What was the one that's not used? I'll just take that one.
You will be a jack.
Oh no, he's got to be the fighter, doesn't he?
No, the glaive is the fightery guy.
Oh, I'm the fightery guy. Okay, like a magic fighter. Okay.
Yeah. Do you want to swap that? Would you rather?
No, that sounds great.
So what am I, like a tank?
No, a jack is like they call them jacks because they're like jacks of all trades. You get a long skill list of things you can do outside of combat. You'll be
bard.
In a manner of speaking, it can be kind of bard-like.
That's basically what it is, Dave. You're the bard. You sing songs and give us all bonuses and enhancements.
Oh, I'm a buffer.
He's the bard of our.
I'm a fluffer.
You're the.
I'm a fluffer.
What's a good analogy?
You're the high charisma dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You can be. You can go with that too.
Can I heal?
If you can splash healing. If you want healing to be your focus, focus would be. So focus is like your kind of subset of gifts. That's the thing that distinguishes one of these classes from another.
Mm-hmm.
So let's actually hop to focuses real quick, because I think that'll kind of give you an idea of. I'm just going to rattle off a lot of these options real quick to kind of give you an idea, and then if you think of something that I don't list, I might be able to point you to like the closest thing. But your focus is what makes your character unique from other glaives, jacks, and nanos in the system. So like this is things like bears a halo of fire, crafts illusions, rages, rides the lightning, lives in the wilderness, exists partially out of phase. So these are like descriptors that give you some kind of twist on what you do in the game. You can wields 2 weapons, so you're like a 2-weapon fighter. Works the back alleys, fuses flesh and steel if you're like half cyborg. So there's a lot of options like that. Is there anything like? If you guys tell me more about what you're picturing, instead of like listing off all 24 or so of these, I could point you toward ones that match.
Describe your character, Dave. What's he do?
I want to be a healer.
You want to be a healer? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the one for that you'll want is works miracles. So Dave will be a jack who works miracles.
Yeah.
Sweet. So what is my description again?
You're a glaive. The glaive is the fightery type, but then. Okay. Do you know? So you said you wanted to splash spellcasting stuff.
Yeah, you specialize in something, right?
Okay. So there's a fire, ice, and lightning option. There's a gravity option.
Ooh.
There's let's see, fire. There's mental control powers. Beast control.
Beast control. Called it.
Okay, so you want to have like a wild pet of some kind that goes with you. And, okay, so you are going to be a glaive who controls beasts.
Awesome. And I get a beast. You'll make me a beast. So, what is there like a character sheet equivalent, or is this it? This sentence?
No. There will be a character sheet. I will find a form fillable one and give you guys the final result. So that
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. So we've got it though. We've got all three of us now.
No. We now need.
Yeah.
This is 2 of 3 parts here. The glaive who controls beasts. Let's see who works miracles. And James. Right now you're a nano. So is there a specific
Right.
subset?
So I am a clever nano who has an innate ability to understand technology or interface with it. Is that a thing?
Yes. There is one.
Interface with it.
Talks to machines.
Talks to machines. Beautiful. Love it.
Who talks to machines? Okay. Cool.
Sweet.
And then. So lastly, we need the descriptor. So we have your type and your focus, but we don't have your descriptor yet. Descriptors are just
James is unpleasant.
an unpleasant nano who talks to machines.
Yes. I like
So
that.
that's going to give you.
Wait, is that a real thing?
Well, no, but it's like that. It's
Okay.
character descriptors are things like charming, clever, graceful, intelligent, learned, mechanical, or
None of
mystical. None of the above.
None of the above.
So I'll actually read you this whole list because even though they're just normal sort of word descriptors, they all do have like a stat package packed into them.
Different modifiers, I see.
So here's what they are, and then if you want to hear what one sounds like in more detail, they all have some of them either have a small advantage or other ones have a big advantage with a small drawback packed in.
Okay.
There's charming, clever, graceful, intelligent, learned, mystical or mechanical, which is a single descriptor depending on how you picture your abilities. Rugged, stealthy, strong, strong-willed, swift, or tough.
I want to be stealthy.
A stealthy glaive who controls beasts.
Yes.
So that's your sentence. You are a stealthy
Okay.
glaive who controls beasts.
Yeah, I am.
Justin loves bestiality.
Oh, you're the worst. Are there negative ones we can give Dave?
And when he does his bestiality, no one ever sees him do it.
Dave, did any of those descriptors light your fire?
I would have also gone with stealthy, but since Justin took it,
You can have it, and I can be charming. I just don't think that's accurate.
you're not very stealthy. I see you right now. Look, I have a hood on, so I'm infinitely stealthier than you. Fuck. You
You're a
disappeared.
sneaky healer, then. Do you want to be a sneaky healer? You can both be stealthy. There's nothing.
What's the difference between
I'm
stealthy
charming.
and sneaky?
No, sneaky is not one of them.
Oh, I thought. Wait, can you read them off again?
Sure. And these will basically mean what they mean in prose. But there will be a package of mechanics with them. Charming, clever, graceful,
Actually, stop
intelligent.
right there. I'll go with clever.
Clever? Okay.
Yeah.
So clever. So you are a clever jack
Okay.
who works.
And James?
I'm erring towards mechanical.
Okay. A mechanical nano who talks to machines.
James is very robotic.
I think that
Awesome.
kind of works.
Yeah. You've got a theme with yours.
And his name is RoboHax.
We've got machines and beasts covered.
Yeah, you guys.
I've got in any other game that would be
RoboHax.
cool.
So now we have. I mean, if you guys want, we can just stop there, and I can build your characters, and I can just make the sub choices for you, or you guys can
I
make.
think, considering how long a thing James now has to download, that's probably for the best. We could do it offline. But I think, yeah.
There's one thing I would like to do though, to give you guys some options with each of these, with each of the types. There is a thing where you just kind of pick a. You pick kind of a quirk that you have that connects you to the world.
Okay.
What I'll do is for each of you, I will read off. There's 20 options for each. I'll read you off a list of the 5 that I think are probably the most interesting, and just pick one of those things to fasten you into the world a little more.
Okay.
So for Justin, who is playing a glaive, let's see, and you're controlling beasts. So let's see if I can find any options that ring true to that. I'll tell you what. I'll actually just read 3 because these are kind of long sentences.
Okay.
Okay. Option 1. You were conscripted into military service, but you deserted before long.
Mm-hmm.
Option 2. You and a friend both smoke the same kind of rare, expensive tobacco. The two of you get together weekly to chat and smoke.
Okay.
Or 3. You saved the lives of a family when their house burned down. They're indebted to you, and their neighbors regard you as a hero.
Man, these are all too nice. What was the first one about again? Drafted and left. Yeah, I'm stealthy, so I totally would have deserted. I'm going with that one.
You deserted military service? Okay.
Sure did.
So that'll be kind of a hook that I can use in play to kind of
Sweet.
Give you a place in the world, you know.
It's more interesting than the tobacco thing. James?
Okay. I'll read different ones for each of you.
Yeah.
So, James, you are a nano, so let's look at the nano list. All right. Let's see. I feel like this one's dangerous. You learned your nano-sorcery or gained your modifications in the temple of an obscure god. Its priests and worshippers, though small in number, respect and admire your potential. That'll be the one. That'll be one. Let's see.
Do we even need to read more, James?
Let's see.
Where are you reading these from?
These are in the rule book. Oh yeah, I've got it on my.
All right, I can't find these online anyway.
Yeah.
They're called connections if you're looking for the exact word, but there's a list of 20 for each class.
I was looking for character quirks.
That's what you want.
An experiment you conducted in the past went horribly awry. The locals remember you as dangerous and foolhardy.
Yes, that's me.
That's you? Okay.
That's me down to a T. Yep.
Okay. And Dave, with Jack connections.
Yeah, what you got for Dave?
Let's see. And you work miracles. Okay, option 1. While traveling alone, you saved the life of a powerful abhuman brute. Although unwilling to accompany you on your journey, he remains indebted to you. Oh, no, hold on. That one's from the nano list. How did I get to the nano list again?
Oops.
Scratch
What's
it.
wrong with you?
Scratch it. What kind of show is this?
Why don't we just roll for it and give him a random one?
Give him a random one. Okay, option 1. You have an annoying rival who always seems to get in the way of or foil your plans.
Pokemon.
Yeah, I
kind of his Pokemon.
I thought that was a timely reference.
Oh, look, this one's awesome. You used to work with a trope of traveling minstrels and performers, and they remember you fondly.
Aww.
Yeah, James, if you want to look at the whole list and pick from the whole list, I was just trying to shorten for verbal communication only.
I'll go with the Pokemon one.
Yeah, I think Dave's got it.
Okay. And
His
so
name
you
is
have,
Gary, though. That's it has to be.
His name must be Gary.
Yeah.
You don't really have a rival in the new one, huh? As an aside.
No, well, you have buddies, one of whom is your respected rival.
I mean, and then the girl who kind of wants to sleep with you.
No, but then she
I
totally
think you're reading in the subject.
you saved the
there. I
planet.
don't think that's it.
But yeah. Anyway, that's an aside.
Okay. Cool. Do we have it, Rob?
If you guys are satisfied with that, I can build all the mechanic stuff and make sure you guys are mechanically viable on my own, unless you want to have more input.
if we want to have more input, how about we get in touch sometime outside the show so that James can download this episode sometime this century. I'd love to hang out for 4 more hours and do this, but there's a cap here.
The good news is it wouldn't take 4 more hours, but absolutely, I understand.
Yeah, cool. But we could do it individually on email.
I'd quite like to set up my own character. There's an app to do this, right?
Oh yeah, the Numenera app. That's right. They funded an app, but I never picked it up.
Okay. Well, if I'll download that and have a go with that, and then send it over to you, and you can tell me whether it's a shit character or not.
Oh no, honestly, it's difficult to make a crummy character straight out of the gate. Okay. So long as you lean into your advantages, you should be fine.
Cool. Thanks to everyone who hung out in the chat room as long as they did. But I think with the art completed and our characters roughly laid out, I think we're good. Rob, did you want to do this sometime next week?
Sometime next week.
Or is it going to be too busy next week?
I mean, next week might be viable. Did you want to do it during the main show slot, or did you want to do it?
I don't know. Apparently, I have to ask permission if we're allowed to just replace the show with something else.
Okay, so it can be a bonus.
Main show slot.
What's up?
We probably shouldn't do it in the main show slot.
Maybe we could do it on Friday or something.
Yeah.
Okay, well, stay tuned to Facebook and Twitter to find out when we're going to do it. I'm sure technophiliacs are pretty excited to watch this stuff. Cool. We can put the audio feed onto the Technophilia podcast, though, right?
Sure.
Yeah, so it'll be there. Rob, yeah, thanks so much for being willing to do this, Rob.
No problem. I'm excited to see this system in action.
And we'll pitch it more during the actual show, but you should all check out Dungeons and Randomness podcast.
Yes, the Dungeons and Randomness podcast. I am part of. There's 2 parties. I'm part of Group 1. If you want to hear from me, but both parties have really exciting stories going on.
So yeah, check that out if you really want to hear Dungeons and Dragons stuff all the time. Rob, always a pleasure having you on, and someday maybe we'll hang out again in real life.
I know, right?
But you're the only person I'm talking to right now who I've ever actually met.
You've met me, you don't know it.
I know you hang around my apartment sometimes without me noticing it, Dave, but
most of the time.
Yeah. Dave's going all Assassin's Creed over there. He's all head down.
Pirates for no reason. Okay.
This Brothers game is really good.
Everyone, take care. James, the art is in the inbox and the chat room.
I already put them all up on everything.
Sweet. Cool. Thanks again, Rob.
Yep. Take care, guys.
Hang out again on Skype for 5 hours.
Will do.
Okay. See you, man.